The secret of the family. In the beautiful city of Freetown, Sierra Leone, there lived a family that seemed like any other. The father, Alhaji Kamara, was a hard-working man who worked as a teacher. His wife, Mariama Kamara, was a loving mother and a small business owner who sold fish at the local market. They had two children, a beautiful daughter named Sia and her younger brother, Amadou. Sia was the elder sibling, a graceful and kind-hearted young woman. Amadou, her brother, was handsome, strong, and full of energy. From the day they were born, Sia and Amadou were close. They shared everything: games, secrets, and dreams. As children, they would often play together in the yard, running around, laughing, and talking about the future. Their mother, Mariama, would smile whenever she saw them together, believing they had the perfect sibling bond. But as the years went by, things started to change. Sia and Amadou were no longer the playful children they once were. They had grown into young adults, and with that growth came new feelings. Sia had always been the protective older sister, and Amadou had always looked up to her. However, as they reached their late teens, something unspoken began to grow between them, something neither of them understood. One hot afternoon, Sia and Amadou found themselves alone in their room. The heat from the sun made the air sticky, but there was a strange tension between them. They sat on the bed, not speaking at first, just staring at each other. "I feel strange, Amadou," Sia said quietly, her voice shaking. "Me too," Amadou replied, his voice soft. He reached for her hand, and for a moment they both held on tight. The feeling between them grew stronger. Neither of them could explain it, but it was undeniable. At that moment, something crossed the line. They kissed, and it felt different from anything they had ever felt before, but neither of them could understand why. Outside the room, their father, Alhaji, had begun to notice something was wrong. He saw how the two siblings had started acting strangely around each other. At dinner, they would sit too close, and sometimes their eyes lingered too long. He didn't trust it, but he wasn't sure what to do. One night, Alhaji decided to secretly follow them. He stood outside their door, watching through the crack as his children lay together in bed. They had no idea he was there. Alhaji's heart raced. He had heard of things like this happening in other families, but never thought it would happen to his own. He stepped back, his mind full of confusion and fear. He couldn't let this continue. Meanwhile, Mariama, their mother, remained blissfully unaware. Every time Alhaji tried to talk to her about his worries, she laughed it off. "You worry too much, Alhaji," Mariama would say. "They are just children. They are close because they are siblings. It's normal for them to be together all the time." But Alhaji knew something was not right. He couldn't bear the thought of what was happening between his children. One day, he finally decided to confront them. He walked into their room while they were sitting together, not noticing him enter. He felt the heavy silence in the air as he stood at the door, watching them closely. "Sia, Amadou," he said sternly. "I need to speak to you both." Sia and Amadou looked up, startled. They could see the anger and worry on their father's face. "What is going on between you two?" Alhaji asked, his voice trembling with a mix of fear and authority. Sia's face turned red with embarrassment. She had never seen her father so upset. Amadou, too, looked confused, not knowing how to respond. "It's nothing, father," Sia said quickly, standing up. "We were just talking." "Talking?" Alhaji repeated, his voice rising. "I know what I saw. You two, there's something wrong here." Sia's heart pounded. She didn't know what to say. How could she explain what was happening? "We love each other, father," Amadou said quietly, not able to hold back any longer. "But we don't understand why. It's just something that's happening. We don't know how to stop it." Alhaji's face went pale. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. His children, the ones he had raised with so much love, were involved in something he could never have imagined. "This is wrong," Alhaji said firmly. "You cannot love each other like this. You are siblings. Do you understand? Siblings." Sia and Amadou stood frozen, their faces full of confusion and guilt. They didn't know what to do. Mariama, hearing the commotion, rushed into the room. She stood there, shocked, looking between her husband and their children. "What's happening here?" she asked, her voice full of concern. Al-Haji turned to Mariama, his eyes filled with anger. "Mariama, this is not normal. He stopped himself, unable to continue. Mariama looked at her children, her heart heavy. She still didn't understand what was happening, but she didn't want to believe that her children could be doing something wrong. "This is nothing to worry about," Mariama said, her voice soft and comforting. "They're just going through a phase. They're close, yes, but that's just because they've always been. It's nothing to make such a fuss about, Al-Haji." But Al-Haji knew that something much deeper was happening. He couldn't let this continue. He needed to find a way to stop it, no matter the cost. The tension in the house grew thick. Al-Haji became more and more distant, his mind racing with thoughts of how to protect his children from themselves. Meanwhile, Sia and Amadou felt trapped, not knowing how to escape the feelings they couldn't control. One night, as they lay awake in their beds, Sia whispered to her brother, "Do you think we'll ever be able to forget this feeling, Amadou?" "I don't know, Sia," Amadou replied, his voice full of uncertainty. "But I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't know what to do." Days turned into weeks, and the tension in the Kamara household only grew stronger. Al-Haji, determined to find a solution, began to keep a closer eye on his children, following them when they left the house, watching their every move. He didn't trust them alone anymore, especially with the dark secret he believed was threatening to destroy their family. But the more he watched, the more helpless he felt. Every time he tried to speak to Sia or Amadou, they brushed him off, claiming nothing was wrong. Their bond seemed unbreakable, and each passing day only deepened the feeling of uncertainty in Al-Haji's heart. Mariama, on the other hand, still refused to believe anything was truly wrong. She tried to reassure her husband that their children were just growing up, that their closeness was natural. But deep down, Al-Haji knew there was more to the situation than he could handle. He couldn't stop thinking about the first time he saw them together in their room. The way their eyes lingered and their touch seemed different. It was clear that they had crossed a line, and he feared it would destroy them all if nothing was done. One afternoon, as the sun set behind the hills of Freetown, Al-Haji made a decision. He called his brother, Mohammed Kamara, who was a respected elder in the community. Mohammed was known for his wisdom and his ability to deal with difficult situations, and Al-Haji hoped that his older brother could offer some guidance. "Mohammed, I need your help," Al-Haji said over the phone, his voice tight with emotion. "There's something wrong with my children. I've tried everything, but they don't listen to me. I don't know what to do anymore." Mohammed was silent for a moment, taking in his brother's words. "Al-Haji, tell me what's happening. I will help you in any way I can." Al-Haji explained everything, their strange behavior, the looks they exchanged, the moments he had witnessed that he couldn't ignore. Mohammed listened carefully, his mind working through the details. "Al-Haji, I know this is difficult," Mohammed said gently, "but you cannot solve this problem by controlling them. You have to understand that there are deeper issues at play here. If they are feeling something they cannot control, the best thing you can do is to talk to them openly and try to understand what they are going through. Punishing them will only push them further away. I've tried talking to them, Mohammed. They don't listen to me. They think I'm just being paranoid." Al-Haji's voice broke with frustration. "I understand," Mohammed replied, "but you must keep trying. If you really want to save your family, you must find a way to talk to them. This will not be easy, but it is the only way." Al-Haji felt the weight of his brother's words. He knew that Mohammed was right, but he also felt that time was running out. His children were slipping away from him, and he wasn't sure how much longer he could stand by and do nothing. Meanwhile, Sia and Amadou were facing their own battle. The feelings they had for each other were growing stronger by the day, but so was the guilt. They knew what they were doing was wrong, but they couldn't seem to stop it.